there's always this debate about electability. We need a Democrat that's super electable and who can beat Trump. Well, a new poll indicates that the person best suited to beat Donald Trump is Bernie Sanders. So Survey USA asked 4,069 registered voters nationwide how they would vote in an election today if Trump was pitted against each of the 2020 candidates in the Democratic race. The progressive Vermont independent, Bernie Sanders, came out on top. So 52% of voters would choose Sanders and 43% Trump, giving the veteran senator a 9-point lead. Next was former Vice President Joe Biden at 50% to Trump's 43%, a 7-point lead. So Bernie Sanders actually outperforms Biden in this poll, right? Up against Trump. Let me give you some more details though. Tom Steyer is tied with Trump at 44%, and also Democratic Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar loses to Trump. I mean, that should be a big story, no? Loses to Trump by 2 points at 43%. To 45%. Democratic Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard loses to Trump by 5 points at 39% to 44%. I think
was Buttigieg on there?
Buttigieg was on there, but everyone beats Trump, obviously with Bernie leading with a larger margin. Except for Klobuchar, Steyer, and Tulsi Gabbard. So even Yang beats Trump, but with a smaller margin than Bernie. The person best suited to beat Trump is Bernie Sanders. So then there's this new CNN poll, which shows that Bernie Sanders is now in a statistical tie with Joe Biden at the very tippy top, okay? So 27% of registered voters who are Democrats or Democratic-leaning independents back Sanders, while 24% favor Biden. The margin between the two is within the poll's margin of sampling error, which means that they're at a statistical tie. All right, now both are significantly ahead the rest of the field, including Senator Elizabeth Warren at 14% and former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg at 11%. Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg lands at 5%, while Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar and businessman Andrew Yang each hold 4%, right? So Sanders has actually gained 7 points since the last CNN poll, okay? So he's doing really well, but like, we were the first to talk about how no one likes Bernie Sanders. Okay, so let's hear more from this ignorant conversation.
I think it's very important for people to note that Bernie registered to run for the Senate in 2024 as an independent, yet is running as a Democrat for the president. He is a Democrat by default, And
well, you really
need to understand that.
You want him out.
They just need to understand that.
But this has been my bitch with people running who are socialists, and I love socialists. But if you're a socialist, find other people, find your party, people in your party to support you. Don't say you're a Democrat and then try to poop all over the Democratic folks. That's they're spouting what they believe. If you believe what you believe, then run as where you are. Let us see you. And if we like what you're saying, then people will vote for you. But you can't say you're one thing and then pretend to be something else and just people point you out.
I love the socialists too. I've slept with several.
I think that conversation, it's supposed to represent the types of political discussions that occur among women in America. And I think that conversation degrades women. I think that it belittles our intelligence and our sophistication, and I'm embarrassed by it. And honestly, I'm disappointed in Joy Behar. What is she doing?
Look, she was kind of, I guess, trying to goof around or something. I'm more frustrated with Whoopi Goldberg there, especially on a show where Patrick Stewart comes on and says that she might be invited on the second season of Picard, which got me all excited. And then she goes and says that. Like the sense of entitlement there, it's something about Star Trek. The sense of entitlement there that the Democratic Party is whatever we say it is, and how dare you imply that it's something else, even on a day where you are leading, implying that maybe Democratic voters don't agree with you on what the identity of the party is or should be. And how can a poll like that, it's not a random nobody poll, it's a CNN poll. How can that come out and they don't mention it? It's a morning show, but that poll was available. How are you gonna come on after a week of or a day of saying Bernie Sanders is unpopular, and then double down on a day when evidence comes out that directly refutes everything you're saying and should lead to a little bit of soul searching. That his popularity is not random. You can learn something from it. It's not about his hair or the affinity that birds have for him. There's something substantive there. And considering that his base is the young base, it's the future of the party, maybe you should try to understand what is so appealing to the people that you're gonna try to appeal to for the next few decades.
And also, look, Sunny Hostin is actually a very smart woman. And so she understands how politics works in America and how unfortunately we have a two-party system and a third-party candidate has no chance. That's the system that we're under, right? So Bernie Sanders, yeah, he's a registered independent in Vermont. Guess what? No one cares. No one cares other than dishonest actors who keep citing that as a way to attack him when the reality is you should focus on the policies and try to understand why his policies are so popular and why they resonate with so many Democratic voters. In fact, let me give you some more information from that latest CNN poll. Sanders is also most often seen as the candidate who agrees with voters on the issues that matter most to them. Oh my God, but he's a registered independent. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Let me give you more. 30% say that Sanders compared with 20% for Biden, 15% for Warren, and 10% for Buttigieg. And as the candidate who best understands the problems facing people like you, 29% named Sanders as best on that measure, 18% for Biden, 17% for Warren, and 9% for Buttigieg. People are focused on policies because if you're not hosting a show like The View and getting paid a ton of money for essentially being really bad at your job, you're struggling to put food on the table for your kids.
Yeah.
And right now, there is one candidate who's doing an excellent job drawing attention to those issues.
Yeah.
Now, today on The View, there was an update in their commentary. Remember?
There was.
Yes, there was.
Okay, good.
Meghan McCain was bragging about how they were first in stating that Bernie Sanders is unlikable. But today she spoke very differently of how the country feels about Senator Sanders. Take a look.
We talked about Hillary Clinton's unfiltered comments about former rival Bernie Sanders, where she said, among other things, that nobody likes him and nobody wants to work with him. Today, she's getting a lot of backlash from some Democratic candidates like Andrew Yang, and says she's not sending a helpful message, and Tulsi Gabbard, who says she should, quote, grow up. This isn't high school. But, I thought everybody wanted her to be real.
Yeah, but then
now she's real, and everybody's like, shh.
Yeah. Well, see, that's an example of how she can't win.
Yes.
No matter what the woman does, she can't win.
Yeah.
So, but maybe she just wants Joe Biden to be the nominee, and
or maybe
not
she
Bernie
just
Sanders.
was mad at Bernie because Bernie kind of.
Now she's more calculated than that.
Well, she said it in the book. She said it in the book. This is not the beginning. This is not the first time we've heard this, but
And maybe she's being honest, and maybe she's being transparent. And aren't we, as a country, tired of this opaqueness that we're seeing? Aren't we tired of a lack of transparency? And aren't we just coming off of what happened with Elizabeth Warren when she went up after the debate and said, "Did you just call me a liar on national television?"
It's incredible that the person who's being accused of lacking transparency is Bernie Sanders in the context of this conversation. It makes no sense. There is so much out there proving the consistency of Bernie Sanders, but more importantly, showing where he stands on the issues, which is the only thing that should matter. Have they paid no attention to this election whatsoever? You don't like Bernie Sanders because you don't like his socialist policies, just come out and say it. But making things up to justify your disdain for him, I think is pathetic and cowardly. And it makes you look ignorant. And it sucks because I don't think that Sunny Hostin is ignorant. I think I disagree with her vehemently when it comes to Bernie Sanders. But don't position yourself as this clueless person who doesn't know what's going on. You know what's going on. Be honest with your audience about how you just don't like Bernie because you don't like socialist policies. And then move on.
Yeah, that was such a dishonest game that they played there. Oh, you all said that she was being fundamentally inauthentic and not being real. And she even said back during the 2016 election, I have a public position on some things and a private position on those. And now she says something awful and now you don't like that either? Okay, let's be super clear. Yes, we want people to be authentic. But when they're authentic, we also don't want them to be awful, okay?
Exactly,
we want two things, actually. You can want more than one thing. Trump on that Entertainment Tonight bus, he was being honest and it was terrible. I want honesty and for you to not be terrible. I think most people can grasp that.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.